Hi, welcome to another Level 2 Statistical Inference video. We're going to wrap up our second video on confidence intervals, which all belong in part of the analysis part of the PPTAC cycle. Now we know the median, as with all other statistics, that has been taken from a sample is a one-off suggestion as to what the population median could be. It's often called a point estimate. However, it is often better to create an informal confidence interval that gives us an interval in which we believe the actual population median will lie. We looked at this in the last video. Here was the rule that we looked at, the IQR. So we go 1.5 times IQR divided by the square root of n, which is our sample size. Here was the example we did in the last video, and we created a population interval between 63.06 millimeters and 78.94 millimeters. That's where we believe the population median would lie for this sample of giant beetles. So our sample was 71 mils, but we believe the population should be somewhere between 63.06 and 78.74. All right, now we're going to talk about putting it onto a box and whisker graph. So here's our box and whisker graph with our minimum, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, maximum. And now we're going to draw in the population confidence interval. And here it is. Now, how did I do that? Well, this is the lower boundary of 63.06, and this is the upper boundary of 78.94. So we just draw a line between the lower and the upper boundary of our population confidence interval. Now it's useful if we can do two box and whiskers side by side, because now we can talk about whether the population median for each group could be equal to each other, similar. And there are two scenarios I want you to watch out for. The first scenario, if the informal confidence intervals for a population median do not overlap, then it's unlikely that the groups have equal or similar medians. Let's show you what we mean. So here's our two data sets. This is the maximum value for the population median for dataset B, and this is the minimum value for the population median for dataset A. And you can see there's a bit of a gap between them, so they don't overlap. So if they do not overlap, we can say there is sufficient evidence to make a claim that the values of the variable for one group tends to be greater or less than the values of the variable from the other group. In other words, we strongly believe that there is a difference between the population medians between the two groups. Right, well here's scenario 2. What if the informal confidence intervals for the population do overlap? Then it is likely that the groups have equal or similar medians. What do we mean by that? Here is our two data sets again, and this is the maximum population median for dataset B. This is the minimum population median for dataset A, and you can see there is an overlap. So there's a very good chance that the two groups could have the same population median. So we're going to say there is insufficient evidence to make a claim that the values of the variable from one group tends to be greater or less than the values of the variable from the other group. In other words, we're pretty confident that they could have the same population median or they could be similar. Right, let's pop out of here and show you what we mean by this with NZ Grapher. So remember, we're coming back to our sharks, and we took a sample of 109 sharks using a stratified sample of 50 females and 59 males. We drew our box and whisker graph. We picked on the length and we picked on the gender, and here is our dot plot for our females and males. So if we clicked on our summaries, that brings up our statistics for each group. We clicked on our dot plot, or box and whisker graph. And now all we need to do is come down to this box down here where it says informal confidence intervals. And if we click on this, the graph automatically adds on the informal confidence intervals. It's pretty clear we can see in this that the two confidence intervals do overlap. So this is scenario number 2. There's a very strong chance that the male length and female length could have the same population median. Right, well that's us for this video. So thanks so much for watching.